Hello and welcome to Reginaldesq. I'm Underhook and this is Armoured Warfare. Patch 2.0 has just landed. Today we're taking out the Russian Tier 9 main battle tank, the T-90MS. I had a video all ready to go, but this patch landed and there's been changes made to this tank, so I had to throw my other video away and I'm redoing this one now. I will be commentating live, so forgive me if I repeat myself or stop talking for a little bit. So what have they done to this tank? Well, apparently the whole Russian main battle tank line has been underperforming. So they've buffed the gun. So I've recently reviewed the T-90 and the T-90A. Well, they have both had buffs to the penetration and damage of their guns. And I wasn't aiming properly. And this one has too. So previously this one had 660 damage with 720 pen. That is now the standard ammunition on the T-90, or the higher ammunition on the T-90A, so that's had a buff. And this one now has 780 pen with 680 damage. So the damage has gone up only 20, but the penetration has gone up 60. And that's because of tanks like these. Look at that, I'm not even penning it. That is a Tier 10 light tank. And that's because, yeah, the tanks have been... It has been, in fact, harder to pen some of the light tanks and tank destroyers and stuff like that than it has been to pen main battle tanks. But they haven't really fixed that, because on the T-90 and the T-90A, you probably know that I said the problem with those tanks is the frontal armor is very, very weak. Well, on the video I previously made of this, which was going to be uploaded last night, I was telling you that, well, they've buffed the frontal armor on the T-90MS is at least better. It was 380mm instead of the 275 we'd had, so good news. But no, they've now fixed the armor and it's 277, same as it was on the other tanks. So at Tier 9 we have the same frontal armor as we had at Tier 7, and the turret's basically the same as well. So the turret armor on this tank is, what is it, 650 mils. And the hull armor is 277. Now, it did, yeah, like I said, it was 380 before this last patch. And I'm not concentrating on what I'm doing here. I'm not even shooting at any tanks. So, yeah. And the side armor was 125. So that was buffed as well. But now that's gone back to 88 or something. So... for Tier 9, it's not well armoured at all. Now, it used to say composite, and now it says steel. Steel, as far as I know, was always worse than composite, so I don't know if that's accurate or that's a mistake, if they've actually made the armour like thinner and less effective. It just seems to be too bad to be true. But anyway, on an underperforming tank, I don't know why you would do that change. The other change that's happened... is that, excuse me, yeah, they've increased the pen though. What else was I going to say? Oh, the Abrams apparently were overperforming, so I think they've made a nerf to the Abrams line. I think their armor was actually holding up in combat, whereas the Russians weren't, is the main thing. But instead of buffing the Russian armor, they've buffed the guns. So there goes the telephone. I'm sorry, I can't do much about it. Nobody else is probably going to answer it. Oh, yes, they are. What else can we tell you? So this tank has a view range of 465. The gun depression on the previous two tanks was 5 degrees. On this one, it's 6. So it's still a terrible gun depression for a tank that has no hull armor. And since they've now nerfed the side armor of this as well, you really can't angle this tank at all. You pretty much have to just face straight on, and the hull armor, the frontal armor, isn't any good anyway, so you're only not going to bounce a lot of tanks. I've been spotted already. Whoa, we've got tanks on the side of us as well here. This is not good. Just trying not to expose ourselves to too many of them at once. Now that said, the turret traverse on this tank is fantastic at 40 degrees, and that's up from about 25 on the previous model. So the maneuverability and that sort of thing of this tank is excellent. I mean, it moves like a much lighter tank than it is. So it has great maneuverability and a great gun now as well, with the penetration and damage and all that. But it's just doesn't have the hull armor to do what you, I guess, would expect the main battle tank to do. It's still like the other two. You can't take on the main frontal battle lines. In fact, it's worse now because it's 2 tier higher and still has the same armor that it had at tier 7. And you can see here, like if I just pick on the back half of most, or back third of most main battle tanks is quite weak. Whereas some tanks like Ramkas and things like that, where you actually, maybe with this new ammo I can, but previously you couldn't pen them. So main battle tanks are actually armor-wise weaker than a lot of the other tanks. What else have they done? In the patch notes, they have buffed TDs. TDs apparently have much better camouflage abilities when firing, and I haven't tried them, but it looks like they've turned them pretty much all into auto-loaders now, to some degree. So they have a lot more sort of firepower and punch, because apparently all the TDs were underperforming. And I think that's because they had no armor at all. They were just getting spammed by missiles. I'm pretty sure that's what was happening to them, and just getting annihilated before they could really do much damage. So they have had some changes. Also, they've made some changes to the spotting mechanics. It checks for spotting more often now, because there was a problem where you would be shooting someone in an open field who wasn't far away, and their tank would just disappear. And it was something to do with the spotting, sort of, I don't know, not checking. And so apparently they have attended to that, and that isn't supposed to happen anymore. Also, major changes to the UI now. The UI is nowhere near as good as it used to be. It looks awful now, and I think it's because, it looks to me anyway, like they've simplified it to make it suitable for consoles or a mobile platform. So I'd say that is in fact what they're doing, that they've gone, oh well, the PC version of the game is pretty much dead, so let's see if we can launch this on platforms and stuff like, on different platforms. I think that's what they're doing, and it would make sense. I mean, they've invested a lot of money, and the game's not doing well at all, so it would make sense to do that. Okay, we've just been hit by a missile, and it penetrated us. Where did it penetrate us? It looked like it went for our lower plate. There's no ERA modules on the lower plate, so there's nothing to absorb the impact from heat shells or missiles. Whereas there is on the turret, and upper plate does have some ERA and can absorb some missiles. They've also made changes to missiles. Apparently now they're a lot harder to fire if you're moving, or it's harder to be accurate if you're moving, so you can't guide the missiles as well. Whereas stationary, it's the same, I think. So that's probably been done to stop people just being absolutely spammed with missiles. For a long time in this game, they were trying to get people to use more and more missiles, because people weren't using them enough, because there was some problems with them. So I think now they just kind of went a little bit overboard and made the missiles just so good that they were smashing everyone. So now it looks like they're trying to reduce their accuracy on the move to try and balance them out a little bit. So we copped another hit there. I don't know if it penetrated or not. Maybe our ERA ate that shot. So you can have a look. You see we've got some ERA packages missing there off the top of the turret. So we've once they're missing, that's it. If we get hit again, then it'll pen. So that's what you call reactive armor. It just basically oh jeez, I saw I wasn't going to pen. I still shot. That was silly. Yeah, it just eats the shots basically. But they can only be used once. You can kind of, if you see something coming in, sort of turn your turret to make it hit a different part of the turret, and not that's still got ERA packs on it. So yeah, this is a highly mobile, manoeuvrable tank with a very good gun on it now, although I'm still seem to be bouncing a little bit. and we managed to bounce it. I think ERA saved us again on that one. That's the end of the game, apparently. So yeah, big changes in the game. This tank, has it been nerfed or buffed? I guess it depends on you whether you think the better gun and the worse armor. Geez, I don't know. I guess the lower plate, even with the 380, was going to get pinned anyway. So I guess you could say it hasn't made that much difference, because it's probably better overall, because the gun is better now, or the pen is better, and the armour is weaker, but it was too weak anyway in the hull, so it probably doesn't really make any difference. It's probably better overall. So anyway, we did 12,000 damage, which wasn't very much. We did 27 spots though, so that's pretty incredible. Interesting. So it was a tier 10 match, and we were a tier 9 tank. The Centauro 155, I think was supposed to, it's had some changes as well. It looks like maybe they weren't very good changes. Tier 10 tank didn't do a lot of damage in that particular game. We fired 27 shots hit. Penetrating hits 22, so we still bounced quite a high percentage of our shots. Mind you, I didn't aim particularly well. I was talking too much probably. Anyway, I hope this review wasn't too confusing for you, and yeah, but here is the UI now. It does look a lot different, and it's a lot more simplistic. The carousel here, don't like it. It's harder to see what tanks you've got, and I can't even get the carousel to move. Oh yeah, there it is. The tanks all look very similar. They're all kind of grey, and it's hard to tell what's what. Yeah, I really don't like the new interface here. Selecting shells. It's a lot more simplistic and a lot more sort of black and white, and I think it's setting it up for consoles and stuff like that, and mobile platforms. I think it's definitely not as good as it was from a PC user's point of view. Anyway, hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more, please subscribe to Reginaldesq. Have fun.